1. Please be aware in the following story Mr. Hellfreezer attempts to speak Spanish, which he has not done to any significant degree since high school. And he is nearly 40 years old, but he thought it would be a good idea this time. You may judge. You'll probably cry, but you may judge. Little backstory. I had just left an appointment with my VA counselor. We had been discussing ways to help get me back in touch with people. She asked me if I knew any other language than English. Of course, I studied French in elementary. We spoke German, Yiddish, and Hebrew at home growing up. I was learning Arabic in the military, and learning Spanish to talk to my brother-in-law, as well as studied Japanese for my fiancée before we broke up. Needless to say, yes, I do speak other languages other than English. So when I told her this, she suggested that I try to make connections with other people. Okay. So after we were done, myself and my service dog partner goes to the bookstore to look around and get something to read. So my service dog and I were walking around looking at books, wondering what the most popular book is to avoid, when I hear the dreaded, "Excuse me." I thought that my partner was in the way until I looked down and gave the command for him to get in front of me. He already was. So I made the mistake of turning around and coming nose to nose with the most hideous Karen that I have ever dealt with. "Excuse me, I've been trying to get your attention for the last hour." We had only been in the store for less than 10 minutes. I was not in the mood to deal with this creature, so I remembered what my counselor had said. So, in almost clear enough Spanish, I said, "Lo siento. No hablo inglés. Hablas español." "I'm sorry, I don't speak English. Do you speak Spanish?" The minute I said it, I felt eyes staring at me from across the shelf. "What did you say to me? I need a book. Go get it for me. Now." "Lo siento, señora. Yo no trabajo aquí." "Sorry, ma'am. I don't work here." "This is America. Speak American. Where are you from?" "You are white. White people speak American." At the moment, I'm starting to really lose it with her. Luckily for her, an employee steps in who also speaks Spanish and says to her, "Ma'am, please lower your voice. You're embarrassing yourself. Let me speak to him." So to me he said, "Hola, señor. ¿Cómo puedo ayudarle hoy? ¿Entiende lo que dijo la dama?" "Hello, sir. How can I assist you today? Do you understand what the lady said?" "Sí, por supuesto. Yo sí hablo inglés, pero estoy cansado de que la gente piense que trabajo en un lugar donde solo soy un cliente. Y le puedes decir a esa vaca racista que todo el país de España es blanco y hablan español. Y en Estados Unidos no hablamos estadounidense, hablamos inglés y otros idiomas. Y creo que necesitas conseguir al gerente." Yes, of course, I do speak English, but I am tired of people thinking I work somewhere where I am just a customer. And you can tell that racist cow that the entire country of Spain is white and they speak Spanish. And in America we do not speak American, we speak English, as well as other languages. And I think you need to get the manager. And as soon as I said that, the bookstore employee replied, "Okay." Then went and got the manager and told him what Karen had said. "Okay, ma'am, what is going on? If you don't stop with the bothering of our customers, you will have to be removed from this store. Now, what is the problem?" She looked like she had just gotten slapped with a newspaper on top of her head. "He is white, and is not speaking American. He needs to speak American and go get that book I told him to go get." "Ma'am, he was speaking Spanish and he doesn't work here. He is a customer just like you are, but without the rude racist attitude." "What? Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store now, either on your own or with the police escorting you out the door. We do not tolerate racist attitudes or behavior." "You know what? No. My colleague here will call for the police. I'm not having it today." "Sir," he says, turning to me, "please allow me to offer you an apology for the way that you've been treated. I hope that you don't think that all Americans act like that woman. Please allow me to make it up to you by buying you a cup of coffee from the cafe." "Well there, sir, I'm an American, and I do speak English. I just pretended like I could not speak or understand English with her because I don't work here, does not work with her type." I knew it would just be easier to go with Spanish because if I had went with Hebrew, Yiddish, Arabic, or any other language, she would swear up and down that I was a terrorist or spy. And I have forgotten the French I learned in school. And even if I spoke to her in French, she would say that I was putting a curse on her. So I thought that she would understand Spanish. No trabajo aquí, señora. Instead of the English. I don't work here, ma'am. Oh my God, you speak and understand English, as well as all the other languages. Well, I guess it's true. Never judge a book by its cover. Yep, working in a bookstore, you really should consider that. I then go back to looking at books with my service dog. Then a nice Latino dad comes up. Hola, señor. Siento moleste, ¿puedo hablar español? Hello, sir. I'm sorry to bother you, but you were speaking Spanish? Sí, mi amigo. Habla español. Dije algo malo. Lo siento si cometí un error con una palabra. Yes, my friend, I was speaking Spanish. Did I say something wrong? I'm sorry if I made a mistake with a word. No. Hablaste en español marvelizo. Es solo que tu español suena demasiado correcto. ¿Dónde lo aprendiste? No, you spoke wonderful Spanish. It is just your Spanish sounds too proper. Where did you learn it? Lo aprendí en la universidad cuando estaba tomando clases de obtener mi maestría en educación. Lamentablemente no completé el curso. Entonces estoy estudiando en una aplicación en mi teléfono. I learned it in university when I was taking classes to get my master's in education. Unfortunately, I did not complete the course, so I am studying on an app on my phone. Oh, eso lo explica. Entonces no entiendes nuestro tipo de español. Sabe que dos tipos de español. Acuedada, universidad, y de cal ciudad. Hablas español correctamente, pero lo entiendo. Tienes que aprender español de todas formas que puedas. Oh, that explains it. So you don't understand our type of Spanish. You know that there are two types of Spanish, proper, university, and street, or town. You speak proper Spanish, but I understand. You have to get Spanish any way that you can. And his son adds, Hola, señor. ¿Tú hablas español? ¿Cómo es eso posible? Eres blanco y un americano. Hello, sir. You speak Spanish. How is that possible? You're white and an American. I'm trying not to laugh while trying to teach a lesson. Si hablo español, si soy blanco, pero también lo es España. De hecho no soy blanco si fuera blanco. Estaría enfermo. ¿Ves esta hoja de papel? ¿De qué colores? Ahora bien, si lo sostengo contra mi piel, ¿hay una coincidencia cercana? No. Uno es más ligero que el otro. Necesitamos dejar de mirar el color de la piel y mirar a la persona. Si mi pelo aquí fuera de un solo color, será difícil verlo. Pero tiene diferentes colores, en el marrón, blanco, negro y un poco gris. ¿Eso significa que es especial? Sí, debido a su macras de color. Puedo verlo desde el otro lado de la habitación. Y como lo conozco, él me conoce. A mí ambos podemos distinguirnos entre un grupo de personas. La razón de esto es porque nos conocemos. Yes, I speak Spanish. Yes, I am white, but so is Spain. Actually, I am not white. If I was white, I would be sick. You see this piece of paper? What color is it? Now, if I hold it up to my skin, is there a close match? No. One is lighter than the other. We need to stop looking at skin color and look at the person. If my dog here was all one color, it would be hard to see him. But he has different colors on him. Brown, white, black, and a little gray. Does that mean that he is special? Yes, because of his color markings. I can see him from across the room. And because I know him and he knows me, we can both pick each other out of a group of people. The reason for that is because we know each other. After talking for about 3 hours, we decided to go get a meal at the local restaurant, the dad, the kid, myself, and my service partner. Remember, never judge a book by its cover, no matter what language you're speaking. Yes, what I meant by Karen being hideous was her smell. She had way too much perfume on. It smelled like she had just been swimming in the stuff, as my grandma used to say. A woman needs to smell like a rose for her husband, but not a florist shop. This Karen smelt like a florist shop. 2. First off, to be fair, I used to work at the place this happened. I used to work as a pickup clerk at a nearby Giant, but I stopped working there about a year ago. But because of my job, I basically have the entire store memorized, and can quickly point out what rows something should be in if I was asked. That, plus the fact that I sometimes chat with my old co-workers, could make someone assume I still work there. Anyways, I was there yesterday, looking for ingredients I was missing for dinner. But while I was looking, someone walked up to me. She was about the same age as me, and had the same vibe of I need to find something but I'm too anxious to just ask an employee around her that I usually have. She got my attention, then politely asked where something in another aisle was. I pointed it out to her, she thanked me and went on her way. And I went back to looking for my ingredients. About a minute later, someone else came up to me and got my attention. But before I could even say yes, they started talking. Let's just call her Karen for now. I need to get whatever it was she needed. Oh, that's in aisle number 12. I already checked there and they were all out. Oh well, sorry about that. Maybe they'll have some more later. I then turned to go back to my shopping when she said the next magic words. Can't you just go to the back and check? Of course, I was pretty confused at that and turned to look at her. No, I don't work here. Karen immediately starts to get annoyed. Yes, you do. I've seen you around here before, and you just finished helping that other girl. Well, I used to work here, so I know where stuff is, but I quit like a year ago. Don't give me that. Why else would you be here all of the time? Yeah, because I shop here. Karen started to look genuinely pissed when I said that for some reason, and I decided then was a perfect time to leave and avoid getting yelled at. I continued getting what I needed, constantly checking over my shoulder to make sure I wasn't being followed, and probably looking incredibly suspicious. I finally got everything I needed and made a beeline towards the self-checkout area. Now, I should note that the self-checkout space is directly across from the customer service area, where you can look up and look directly at the self-checkout. I say that because when I finished bagging my stuff, I looked up to see the Karen from before talking to my old manager at the customer service desk. I should also note that my old manager is a large chunk of why I decided to quit, mostly because she was and is a controlling asshole that constantly breathes down other people's throats instead of doing any actual work. Surprisingly, she was doing her job for once, and nodded along while Karen angrily ranted at her. I decided to ignore the two and started to head towards the exit. But of course, that was the exact moment Karen decided to look over and spot me trying to leave. She pointed at me and yelled, "Her, that girl right there!" Of course, everyone stopped and started to stare at me, which would have made me just leaving a lot more awkward, so I stopped in my tracks. My old manager leaned over the counter to look at me, made a confused face, then turned to the lady. "Sorry, ma'am, but she doesn't work here anymore." Apparently, being proven wrong by the manager was Karen's tipping point, because she suddenly started to scream at my old manager. "You're the manager, she's an employee, tell her to help me now!" Surprisingly, my old manager gathered up the gall to actually turn to me again at that. "Arvios, do you mind helping her?" At this point, I was genuinely shocked at her question. I knew she would do anything for a customer at her employee's expense, but I didn't think it would extend to people that didn't even work for her. "Are you going to pay me?" "No, but..." "Then yes, I do mind, see ya." And before either of them could say anything, I sped-walked out of the store. I heard Karen start yelling again, but I couldn't properly catch what was said before I fully exited the store and headed towards my car. Yeah, not exactly an ending. Sorry. I'm still just reeling at both how furious that lady got when I said I didn't work here anymore, and the gall of my old manager to attempt to order me around after I haven't worked for her in literally a year. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm going to try and get in touch with either the owner of the store itself or corporate to report my old manager. 3. For those of you who work in retail, let me tell you that eBay is a level of retail hell that pales in comparison to physical retail. I'm a used auto parts retailer, mostly dealing in e-commerce and wholesale, the former being 99% eBay sales. I could go on all day about the entitled Karens who think eBay is the magical land of savings and returns. Some highlights. Dude orders a quarter section from a Grand Cherokee. A quarter section is a part that needs major cutting and welding to replace on a vehicle. We go back and forth about it for a couple days, narrowing down where he wants it cut from the vehicle. Pictures are sent back and forth. The proposed cut points are approved. We consummate the sale with hundreds of dollars in freight to send it to him across the country. Then get to work cutting the truck apart. We finish up, attach the gigantic body section to a skid and get it on the way. 6 months later, he sends a message to me saying we sent him the wrong part. He was looking for a windshield or something instead. He then tries to blame it on his 3-year-old. He demands we send a truck out to pick up the as-is quarter section. I made mention that he's got a very intelligent 3-year-old that's able to identify structural body sections on a Grand Cherokee, while sending photos to an eBay seller multiple times. Nope. Another dude orders a Challenger door. He gives a shitty address when he checks out. 2 weeks of messaging the dude to correct the address problem. He ignores messages. He finally messages back 10 times, all caps, pissed off. He calls the store, pissed. We hammer out the address and get it sent out, freight shipped across the country. Freight carrier apparently damaged the door in the process. No big deal, it's insured. Just send some pics of it and I can cut a refund on it and take the claim from there. Just hold it for 30 days in case an adjuster needs to look at it. He flat out refuses to send pictures and demands we send a truck to pick it up. Bro, it's 4 pictures, then you don't have to skid or waste your time loading it. Nope, eBay says I don't need to. That's true. You don't have to. But if I send a truck to get it after just asking for 4 photos of it, I'll be deducting return freight. In a meth-fueled rage, he demands we dispatch a truck to get it right away. Okie dokie. I send a bill of lading to him, with instructions of what to do when the driver arrives, which is to hand the driver a printed copy of the BOL. Driver arrives, buyer can't figure out how to print a BOL. He rages out on the driver, apparently bad enough that they won't be returning to pick the shipment up. He calls a local terminal and makes threats to them. Finally, he figured out a way to print the BOL, and must have gotten some other rep. The shipment finally arrives a week later. I snap 4 photos of it and issue a 50% refund of it to almost cover unnecessary return freight. He hoots a line of coke and goes on a rage tangent on all of our online reviews. Luckily, I was able to get most of them removed for policy violations. 4. So a little backstory. I worked at Walmart for 3 months. I quit because of crappy management. That was about a month ago. I'm decently recognizable because I have hair that's dyed rainbow. Even though I quit, I live quite close to this Walmart, so it's where I shop most of the time. And my partner still works there as an auto tech, so their discount card comes in handy. Anyways, my partner and I were shopping for a few things a few nights ago, and we split up to get done faster. The almond milk I had at home had spoiled, and I needed some for the sauce for dinner. And I didn't want noodles I'd already made to get cold. So there I am, arms full of parsley, garlic, and onions, heading back quickly to the dairy section at the back of the store. I almost make it to the cooler with the almond milk when I hear it from behind me. "Excuse me." I immediately cringed at the tone this woman used. As I'd worked many a customer service job and I knew what a Karen sounded like from the get-go. I ignored her, however, as I didn't have any time to chit-chat, and took another step towards the cooler. "Hey, I'm talking to you, don't be rude," she said in that awful voice I'm sure all of you have heard at one point or another. I sighed and turned and see a woman somewhere in her late 30s or early 40s, staring at me with her arms crossed. "The customer service is awful in this place." I opened my mouth to try and tell her that I didn't work there, but she was already talking. "Where are the magazines?" she demanded. "I don't know. Maybe ask an employee?" I said, a little anxious, because I needed to grab my milk and go. "I've seen you working before. I know you work here. I don't care if you're off the clock. You can tell me where the damn magazines are." "No, I can't," I say, getting annoyed. "I don't work here. I quit a month ago, and I only worked front end. I don't know where anything in the store is." It was true, I really didn't know where specific items were, save for the grocery side because I shopped there. "What a load of horse shit." I've seen you working. You're just lazy. Go get your manager. I want to talk to them. I shook my head in disbelief and opened the cooler and grabbed my milk. I went to walk away and she screamed at full volume at me. I am a paying customer and I expect an employee to help when I ask for it. I looked her dead in the eye and said, then find an employee. I don't work here anymore. She yelled again about bad customer service and how she was going to report me to my manager as I was walking away. I flipped her off over my shoulder and continued walking. Thankfully, she didn't follow. I checked out and left. My partner laughed when I told him what had happened on the ride home. I only feel bad because the only good manager was working that night, and she probably got an earful from that awful lady. Sorry, Bonnie. 5. Early this morning, I was out with my mom so she could return a product to Target, which she had bought the week before while wearing a purple-designed t-shirt, jeans, and blue floral mask. As we got inside the store, she went to the customer service to get a refund, while I went straight to the back to check out the electronics section, as I enjoy finding new accessories for my Switch. Now with this store, as some have different layouts, I was able to head straight back from the front entrance and turn left at the corner with the fitting rooms. Just as I was rounding the corner, a nice elder lady approached me and asked politely if I worked here. I stopped and replied, "No, I don't work here, but I may still be able to help." Nice lady looks at me a bit surprised, but then asks if I used to work here. I say no once more, but tell her I come here frequently, so I know where a lot of things are. She hesitates, but then tells me that a sale started today for several colored sweaters, but she can't find one she likes in medium, and she has checked the display. I follow her over to where the display is showing them, and go through it myself to see if one was overlooked. Nice lady is surprised there is very little considering the sale just started. I agreed and mentioned that they may have additional stock they haven't been able to put out yet, as many places are short-staffed. I step back around the display towards the aisle to see if there's any staff at the fitting room. Nice lady and her husband, who had been standing further back, follow. There is none. I turn back to them and mention that there is usually someone over in the electronics section, and that we can ask them to call someone over to see if they have any mediums. So we walk just down the aisle towards the electronics section. However, find no one there as well. Nice lady begins to look disappointed, but I had remembered they had a button you could press to call an associate. Nice lady and the older gentleman looked surprised, but were happy they didn't have to search the store. Not a minute later, we see an employee wearing a red and white plated shirt and a name tag. I'm guessing she was a supervisor. As she approached, she kindly asked, "How can I help you?" I briefly explained that I know this isn't in this department, but the nice lady and older gentleman were looking for a different size of sweater. That's when nice lady approaches and shows her the sweater and talks to her herself for a minute, before she calls to ask for an associate to come to the fitting rooms. The nice lady and older gentleman are happy that someone is able to help them now, and thank me for the help before they head back over to the fitting rooms with the employee. Lastly, I tell them to have a nice day before exploring the electronics section for any new goods. Even though there wasn't any indication that I worked there, I don't mind helping people when they ask nicely. I have worked in retail myself in various environments, and have also had to ask for help myself. Though if I have to ask another customer, it's usually for if I can't reach something, as I'm very short. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 144. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do like, subscribe, and if you're feeling adventurous, comment. Go on. You know you want to. Alright, we have a little birthday shout out to do today. I think just the one. And this shout out goes to... alright. Anna, aka A Elephant. There we go. Anna is 40 today. Slightly younger than me by a few months there. I turned 40 in September. Well, Anna, as always, I'm glad I remembered to do the outro, because you certainly wouldn't have forgotten if I had. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful, delightful day. And I hope you have just a wonderful rest of the month, really. It's We're in the holiday season. We should be able to chill and relax now, shouldn't we? Now, okay. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anna. Happy birthday to you. Realized your name was Anna and I had to resist the urge to burst into "Do you want to build a snowman?" halfway through. Probably for the best that I resisted. And we also have a Hanukkah shout-out to do. That goes to CB. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say their last name. I can't remember how they post on YouTube. But I always credit them as CB when I use stories. They've sent me many stories over the time they've been watching. Indeed, they have. And Hanukkah is, let's see, it's from... Okay, glad I did that today because there's only a few days left. Well, I hope you and your family have a happy Hanukkah. Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance a hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of years long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of years long ago. I hope I got that right. Right, where are we? What day is it? Okay, it's Wednesday. I need to gather stories for tomorrow, but I've already got Fridays. Doing not too bad for Saturday. Not sure about Sunday yet. Okay, well, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.